Hello people of the earth and welcome to QuickSaveTV. My name is Mike, and in today's tutorial about Skyrim we're going to talk about how to actually switch your character from one side of the scale to another in order to get to 81st level. You know, this problematic and troublesome thing which is not always easily possibly done. Then I'm going to teach you just how to do that. Okay, first of all, this is the this is the character which will be representing the Khan class. I am certainly not wearing what I will be wearing for the presentation. I'm just playing the game in order to get general field expertise and experience, to get the necessary level high enough in order to get all the points and perk points I want, etc, etc. I am actually using the extension of the level to level 100, a mod, right, by Xodarab777. The thing I will be using last time for the class presentation, I think, simply because it just doesn't cut it, because it inevitably spoils my perception of early leveling. But gladly, you know, this playstyles, the bow and the melee, I am familiar well enough to just, you know, not worry about it. Now, back to the tutorial. So, what are we going to talk about today? So, say you are an archer, right? And oh good, you use light armor, you use the bow, you use this and that, and you're kinda good, you're feeling reasonably comfortable in what you do. Oh, but here's the problem. Once you reach 100 in archery, in marksmanship, excuse me for that, where's the marksmanship, yes, archery. Once you reach 100 in it, there's not much more use you can yield from the bow. But your level isn't 81 yet, the top possible level in the game, right? So, how do you actually switch from something like archery towards something, say, such as, say, conjuration? It's a very dramatic change. Conjuration, even though conjuration is a support skill and you use it in generally to augment your other skills, you know, you summon something. Either you summon bound weaponry in order to substitute for a main weapon, right? Either you summon a undead unit, right, Atramank, or an undead in order to support you in a battlefield. Okay, so how would you do that with, say, conjuration? So how do you do that? Let's say this target right here is actual enemy. What do? You run inside the battlefield and you just summon an Atranak. Good, you did it. Then switch back to your bow and deal with the enemy. Try to consume all of your mana, or as much mana as possible, without dying. Then just quickly dispatch of the enemy with your bow. Now, since you're very good with the bow, you can use it as your anchor point for any kind of this dramatic switch. Why bow? Like, it doesn't have to be a bow if you're good with one-handed weaponry and you want to practice two-handed. That's the same logical solution. I'd say this is the enemy, right? We attack him with two-handed, we deal a couple of strikes, but if the enemy is too strong for us, we switch back to one-handed weaponry and a shield, and we just deal with him really quickly. That's just as simple as that. Everything should be based off of something. Don't just go out there and switch your playstyle dramatically, right? You were wearing heavy armor, switch to light armor, take a bow and just go out there and die. Because the game will be the game will be scaling towards a higher level character, making it barely possible for you to actually do any damage or anything effective whatsoever with the things you're not particularly effective at. So you have to be mindful of that. Now, the same thing you would say, what would be extremely helpful with that? Well, enchanting would certainly be. Alchemy would be helpful in that to an extent, but specifically enchanting would be extremely helpful at that, and the smithing, which I left away from, excuse me, it's been a long day playing, I'm really, you know, the head hurts now. Smithing would be really helpful, and enchanting would be extremely helpful. They're actually two brothers right next to each other. Enchanting could be helpful in a way that you could enchant any kind of armor. You take light armor, for instance, right? And you could pump up the light armor skill in order to provide you better protection. Or otherwise, alternatively, you could pump up resistances on this light armor, making you more effective warrior, right? At the same time, you could actually pump up the damage output simultaneously with your defense, right, to get higher damage on two-handeds, for instance, making it more easy for you to actually level it up. But at the same time, honestly, I would recommend to you to not bother about all these things I just said right now, not to an extreme extent at very least. Otherwise, you risk spoiling your character and you will be falling behind, okay? One of the common mistakes I've been doing in Oblivion with my first character, what did I do, right? I was like, we had this bat, I had a Haji, right, Haji assassin. right? And we had a bet with with my friends, right? With my friend, we said who gonna reach level 20 first wins the bet, right? Great, awesome. And so what did I do? From level 14 to level 20, how did I think I leveled up? That's right, alchemy, alchemy. That's what I did. I did alchemy from level 14 to 20. And what do you think happened? Level 20 in Oblivion is the highest scaling level in the game. What happened once I reached it? You can probably imagine, right? I was reasonably pathetic and the enemies were incredibly strong. I wasn't good at anything else except for alchemy, and I was tied to using the stupid poisons, which I didn't have any intentions on using. So be very careful and mindful of that. But otherwise than that, it's just very, very easy to switch from one thing to another, even if it's extremely different. Just remember, if the enemy is weak, deal with him with something you're practicing with. If the enemy is strong, switch back to your normal set with which you're actually comfortable with and just deal with him really quickly. Don't play with enemies when there's too many of them and they're reasonably strong. Like, for instance, it wouldn't be smart to go ahead and practice on Spriggan Matriarch, right? But it would be more than a reasonable idea to go ahead and practice against bandits as long as you dispatch off the strongest ones first. And that's about it for this tutorial. I hope it was helpful to you. Mostly it was just blah blah blahbish. Next time, if you want, I will provide some more valuable suggestions on that. I'm still working on Han. Well, even though I didn't do a lot of work in the past, I have advanced reasonably far in levels, and I expect to finish it in a couple of days, say 3-4 days. I think it's more than enough for me to actually finish it. And yes, this was QuickSaveTV, Mike. My name is, just in case you did not catch it first time. If you enjoyed the video and my commentary, please do not forget to subscribe to my channel in order to support my work and get notified instantly when new content becomes available. I thank you so much for watching, thank you so much for listening, have a greatest day, and bye bye.